Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Fly 2, and this movie came out in 1989, and it's not directed by David Cronenberg this time around. It's directed by Chris Walas, if I pronounced that correctly, and it's a follow-up to the 86 film, and what we have here is basically his son, and he's growing up at a rapid pace, in the sense that when he's 5 years old, he looks like he's a full-grown adult because he had the fly DNA when he was born, and he's part insect, and the movie kind of has that, and it also is mostly about getting some teleporters to work, just like in every other Fly movie, and they're just talking about how you can just teleport to people in the blink of an eye, and everything will be awesome. And this movie was not good, despite the talent that went into this film, because although people from the first movie weren't really here, the main people David Cronenberg, he's the main one. Instead, we have some other talented people, the director. I believe this was his first feature film, that he directed, and he mostly did special effects for movies, and I believe he worked on the effects for the first Fly movie, as in the remake, the David Cronenberg film, if that makes sense. And we also had Frank Darabont to write the screenplay. Well, he's credited as one of the writers. I think there were a total of 4 writers on this project, and we also had Christopher Young composing the music, and I mostly know him for composing the music for Spider-Man 3, and I believe he replaced Howard Shore, because Howard Shore did the music for the David Cronenberg Fly movie. And you have some talent here, but it doesn't really show all that much outside of the creature effects. The creature effects I thought looked great, and whenever we got stuff like that, I thought the movie was kind of interesting, and it had something going for it. And basically all this movie is just our main character being trapped in this facility, and they're just letting him grow up to see what happens to him, because he's the most unique human on the planet, and they also want him to help create this teleporter because he's smart enough to do so. And that's about all there is to this movie. Not much else. And our main character is slowly turning into a fly, and he also wants to kind of prevent that. And this movie is just all over the place, and it's messy, and there isn't really a whole lot to like about it outside of the effects. And the creature, when we actually do see the fly creature, spoilers, we actually have a creature in this film, just like in the previous movie. Although it's kind of a cool idea, and I kind of like the design for it, however, where I kind of start to take issue with it is that, A, I don't find it scary. I don't find anything about this movie scary. And B, it kind of treats it like it's a monster movie, whereas the first film was kind of a body horror film. This film doesn't really have that. It's kind of that, but also not. It doesn't really make it interesting to watch, and there's nothing about it that I found to be effective, and the music was fine. The characters are pretty weak, and most of the characters from the first film that survived from the first film are killed off for no reason, or just not even mentioned, or they're barely in the movie. And there's lots of illogical things that don't make any sense, and there are plenty of elements to this movie that could have been done better that just didn't work for me. And once we started to get into the plot, I was like, oh my god, it's just the same thing over and over again. There's nothing new added to this concept other than we gotta get a teleporter ready because that's the future of mankind. And I was just like, ugh, just stop. And I believe this is the longest Fly movie out of all of the ones I've seen. I don't know if there's more. outside of the 5 that I've reviewed on my channel already, but this one's the longest one, and it doesn't need to be. I know it's not even 2 hours long, but still, it just doesn't justify its runtime. I'll say this about the movie. It was more entertaining than Return of the Fly and Curse of the Fly, but that's not saying much. I was just more entertained by this one as opposed to those movies, and I didn't really care about any of the characters, and the story is just, you know exactly what's going to happen because it's a story that's been told 1,000 times, and there's not really much of anything added to it, and it just plays out exactly how you would expect, and it's not good. It's the best Fly sequel we've ever gotten, in my opinion, and that's not saying much because it still wasn't good. And if you want a good Fly movie, watch the original or watch the remake. Everything else you can skip. And at the very least, I'll say one positive about this movie, even if it might start out as me talking about me having an issue with the movie. And the first half is pretty boring for me, but the second half is where like the body horror kind of starts, and that's where it starts to get a little bit more interesting for me, and it gets more entertaining as it goes along. And that's my last positive that I have for this movie, and the rest of it was either just a snooze fest or just me not caring about what's going on, or just me being entertained by special effects, and that's about it. So skip this one if you ever come across it because it's not great. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Fly 2 a 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of The Fly 2, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Backdraft. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.